Problems along Highway 290 are nothing new to people who live in that area. KXAN's Ignacio Garcia takes an in-depth look now, talking with people who say they deal with these dangerous situations on a daily basis.
People coming in and out of here, we always tell them, be extremely careful.
John Burkhart has seen his share of wrecks near this intersection, including a quadruple fatality just last month. He says part of the problem is drivers speeding and blowing through red lights.
My wife and I were pulling out one time. One of those semi-type wreckers ran that red light doing probably 60 miles an hour. If we'd have been about 2 seconds faster, it'd have probably killed me and my wife both.
Burkhart has seen so many wrecks in the last 9 years, he's even started documenting them by taking pictures. Sadly, the Highway 290 fatality Wednesday was not a surprise to Ernest Banasaw, who's lived here 20 years.
What I'm seeing is distracted driving, and basically what it is the fact there's a lot of people now with the iPads and iPhones and so forth, they're texting still.
Other drivers blame the construction and impatient drivers, and in some cases, bad weather. But in the end, they say this stretch of Highway 290 needs more lights, added turning lanes, and stiff traffic enforcement.
I don't think the drivers are going to change. It's going to have to be something to do with how the traffic is controlled.
Locals say this fatal wreck won't be the last, but hope the spotlight will at least slow drivers down. Outside Dripping Springs, Ignacio Garcia, KXAN News.
Well, we did some digging today and found out there have been 190 crashes along Highway 290 in Hays County since the beginning of 2012. 103 last year and 87 so far this year. Of those, 2 were deadly, not including today's crash.
Knowing how to adapt your driving in wet weather is still a skill we haven't had to practice very much of since the start of the drought. This afternoon, I visited Driveway Austin, the motorsports training complex in East Austin. Students there learn the techniques of driving on wet roads from veteran race car driver Bill Ballard.
Now, what he's doing when the car like this is to be able to put very smooth motions into the car. The other thing that I'll say here, and we train this too, is any of the painted surfaces, either here or out on the road, are very, very slippery. Those are not, they will not absorb the water. Water sits on top of it, and it is just like grease when you go across it. So avoid the painted surfaces when it's wet if you possibly can. Now, what he just did is he had an instant traction change, and it slung the back of the car around. The reason he didn't lose the car entirely is because instead of looking in front of the car, he's looking way ahead and knowing what he needs to do. That's one of the things most people don't do. They drive right in front of the car as opposed to getting their eyes way out in front of the car. Know what's coming, be prepared for it, and understand that in traction changes like this, things respond very slowly, and then they instantly change.
Bill recommends adding 15 to 20% more air to your tires when driving in wet conditions.